Today I want to break down the process of how I made my short film, The Loop. I will walk you through how I got inspired by a great filmmaker, Sandial Gomez, how I filmed the shots and how I used DaVinci Resolve to bring it all to life. Let's dive in. First off, let's talk about the inspiration behind The Loop. A few months back, I came across Sandial Gomez's work and it really grabbed my attention. If you've seen his short films, you know what I mean. It's unique and memorable in a way that made me stop and think. That's what sparked the inspiration for this project. Honestly, getting started was a struggle. I kept procrastinating and overthinking everything. Then a friend and I decided to make a short film, but we couldn't agree on any idea. Finally, I was like, why don't we just try to recreate a cool short film that we find? And that's basically how we ended up here. Next up was the planning and shooting. I used my Sony Alpha 6400 with a 30mm lens for most of the shots, which is amazing for capturing details and working in low light condition, and a 60 to 50mm zoom lens for the wide shots. For settings, I shot in 30 FPS with the shutter doubled the frame rate. I kept the aperture wide open at f1.4 and the ISO at 100 to get that nice clean look. I shot everything using just two lights and a tripod. We were working with what we had, no budget for like a 10k studio setup. Instead, we used two cheap lights from AliExpress and a tripod from the same place. Planning and shooting was trickier than expected, and that definitely slowed things down. In fact, we actually abandoned the project for a few months because of a mistake. Originally, we split the shots in 4 days, trying to film one part for each day, but soon we realized that wasn't realistic. There were so many different shots, we had to constantly reset everything for each scene. It became too overwhelming, so we just stopped. A while later, I came back to the project with a fresh approach. Instead of filming in order, we grouped the scenes and filmed by similarity, not by timeline. That made everything so much easier. I just changed outfits between scenes and we didn't have to move everything around for each shot. Now let's talk about post-production. I did all the editing in DaVinci Resolve and honestly, the final result was super rewarding, but it wasn't without its challenges. There was definitely a learning curve. With over 200 clips, things got pretty laggy towards the end. But thanks to Proxy Media and Optimized Media, I was able to power through and finish the film successfully. I started by laying all my footage in the media page and getting everything organized. Then I cut the clips to match the original video. For some of the effects, I jumped into the Fusion page to get those done. The color grading in DaVinci Resolve is amazing, but I've still got a lot to learn. One issue I ran into was not shooting in S-Log, so I didn't have as much flexibility to tweak the footage. But I made it work by going for a washed out look. I desaturated the colors, added some blue tones to create a cold, isolated vibe. It wasn't perfect, but it got the job done. For the sound, I had to get creative. I didn't have access to a pool to film at, so I swapped out the original audio and added some sound effects to make it work. It's all about improvising when you don't have the perfect setup, you know? Once everything was done, I exported it and the loop was complete. Honestly, the whole project was such a learning experience for me. Trying to replicate Sandial Gomez short film was both challenging and rewarding. It made me realize how much thought goes into every little detail, every shot, every scene. So that's a wrap on how I made The Loop. If you haven't checked out the full short film yet, you can watch it here. And if you have any questions about the process, drop a comment below and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.